I've just been inside watching telly and reading the paper and wondering about my roots.
Wondering about your roots?
You haven't asked me about my roots, Michael. I'm very worried.
Do you mean your hair, or do you mean...
No, not my hair roots.
Oh,
no,
not your hair roots.
Don't be bitchy like Russell. No, but but usually when I watch the programme, somebody is talking about their roots and how valuable they are.
Well, you're from Torquay.
Yes.
So...
Home of Basil Fawlty. Yes.
Would you like to talk about your roots?
Well, I come from Devonshire, my dear. And of course, I go back there about once every, 37 years.
So you're very close to your roots?
To rediscover my reality, yes. No, I'm not close to my roots. I haven't been there for ages.
You're not?
I've got no roots.
Not at all?
I'm rootless.
Well, I knew that. That's why I didn't ask you about it, you see. You were, in fact, a beach photographer, though, weren't you?
Yes, and not at Torquay, but at West Bay.
What kind of job was that?
Terrific.
Really?
Very good job.
You were a waiter, too? Was that
a waiter for 8 weeks, yes.
Equally good job?
Rotten job.
Why is that?
Because people are so stupid when they enter a restaurant. They'll come in and sit down and say, would you like to see a menu? So that's, I suppose, a fairly daft question to start with, but presumably they would. Great deal of consultation. Would you like to see a menu? How do you feel, Toby? Would you like to see a menu? We'd love to see 2 or 3 if you have them, yes. Yes, there's 6 of us. Perhaps, what do you think? 6 menus? Yes, 6. Right, 6 menus. Give them. Would you like a cocktail, sir? Cocktail. Anybody? 5 hours to discover what they want to drink. Then you leave them to have their drink, and you come back and say, have you decided? They never have. They always say things like, is the fish any good? As if you're likely to say, working for the place, no, the fish is terrible. The pork is worse, the beef is disgraceful. If I was you, I'd get the hell out of here and go to a shop down the road. And unfortunately, the waiters become so impatient, including myself. I didn't do this, but the legends about what they do if you send back the soup is true.
Really?
That's what they do in the kitchen to the soup if you send it back, and they... You know perfectly well what I mean. And a lot better. A bit of sherry, was it?
I should imagine one of the most disappointing moments must have been when you in fact, did a talk show.
Oh, yes.
And it got taken off, didn't it, after, what, 3 shows or something like that?
3 is a pretty good run, Michael.
Why do you think... I mean, what was wrong?
For me?
And what was wrong with you?
I was hopeless. I was no good at interviewing. I'd make small errors, such as a famous person would come on, and instead of saying something like, how are you, I'd say, who are you? Does not put the guest at ease at all.
It does create a certain amount of hostility, doesn't it?
And furthermore, it's a live programme. That was the only good thing about it. I insisted on it being live, which the BBC did not like, because I thought if it's awful, which it may well be, people will enjoy seeing the disasters happen before their very eyes. And in terms of viewing figures, at least, they went up a lot over the 3 programmes. We started with nothing, and we had over 4 people tuning in at the end.
Would you like to try again?
No, not in the least. I literally was useless at it. And also, I'm very bad at being interested in people. I'm often not interested, and to try and fake it. And on a talk show, as you must know, sometimes you get a guest, such as this evening, who you don't particularly want.
Not true.
And how do you... I couldn't conceal my lack of interest. I would be tottering into a small doze between questions, and that, again, is not good for an interview programme. And I think a lot of people underestimate how hard it is to interview people on a weekly basis, or in America, say, on a daily basis. Some people do.
Yes.
An hour and a half daily.
That's right. Well, that'd be my idea of purgatory, that would. I mean, extraordinary. You know. Tell me, Peter, what are you involved in now? You've had your rest. You've done this 4-year stint, in fact, with Behind the Fridge, with Dud, who's still back in America now. What are you going to do in the future?
Well, I don't know. I'd very much like to do some more resting, but I would... There's various things in the offing, as I say. There's a Tennessee Williams play, in which Dudley and I have been asked to play 2 Southern ladies. It's quite an interesting play, and Tennessee Williams, for some reason, thinks we could do it. There's a film Dudley and I might be doing, a film version of The Hound of the Baskervilles, with me as Sherlock Holmes and Dudley as the dog. I knew I was going to say something nasty, so it came out wrong. Dudley is Watson, not the dog. Yes. So that might happen sometime in the summer. And I've written a film, which I'm directing sometime, called Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, which is the story of Queen Victoria's gynecologist, who has this ability to change into a woman rather than a monster. And it's a love story. He falls in love with herself, and it's very complicated. It's a comedy.
I should hope so, yes.
Well, we're praying for that.
Yeah. Well, Peter, thank you very much indeed for joining me, in spite of what you said. I mean, I very much wanted you on the programme to talk to you.
Well, thank you.
I enjoyed it immensely, and all the best with your various ventures in the future.
Thank you.
Peter Cook.